our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
We're here, baby. What's going on? It's Logan and EJ. Look at that hat. Come on, baby. Welcome back to SwampCast, baby. We're live. You guys know. Just give us a rundown, EJ. Look at that. Look at that little hat we got going on, baby. How we feeling?
Yo, America the beautiful, Florida Gators. We got the SwampCast hat. We got the Sir Tommy's Hawk merch here. It's the NIL era, baby. Like and subscribe.
Love to see it, baby. How we feeling, EJ? How you doing on this beautiful Monday?
Then we're good. Happy Labor Day to everyone. Hope you're not doing too much labor today. And listening to us talk about our Gators.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy Labor Day to everyone out there. We were going to do this yesterday, but obviously we had a monster game last night with Miami and Notre Dame, which we'll obviously get to in a bit and get to those predictions. We have another game tonight, and Bill Belichick making his college football debut in about 7 hours from when we're recording this, which is really awesome. So we'll see what that's like. I think they bring TCU to Chapel Hill, which they're not a bad team. So that's going to be a fun game to go check out. But mainly all the big games are out of the way for week one. And what a week it was, and we'll get into all that. But what a week it was for the Florida Gators. They get a massive win over LIU, which obviously we all expected. If we didn't score 50+ points, I would have been very frustrated. Because this LIU team has no talent at all. But Long Island University Sharks come into the Swamp and take an L 55-0. We're going to dive into all of that. EJ provided us with some really cool stat sheet here, and you guys can now see that on the screen right away. Before we actually dive into that, though, EJ, what was your overall feel? How did you feel about this game? Did you get what you want? How emotionally, how were you seeing the Gators finally play again, baby, this Saturday?
Man, we watched the game at Bay City Brewery. If you're in San Diego and want to watch the Florida Gator football game, Bay City Brewery, hit us up, East Village, San Diego. The game was on ESPN Plus, so it kind of took us a while to get the game on, and we missed the first touchdown, which apparently was the game-changing play. That's all we really needed to win the game. And it happened the first 2 seconds of the game. But, I think the goal for this game was come out, show us that DJ Lagway isn't hurt, and then let the defense do its thing. But then also, let's see if DJ Lagway can have a few good passes down the field, right? Show us that shoulder is healthy. We got kind of a little bit of what we wanted. The other goal of this game was let's just run some basic plays. We got 3 games coming up against teams that have beaten ranked teams. Talk about a schedule now. We don't need to show all the cards. I think that's what we did. We had a great dominant running game. I think we did what we were supposed to do. I do think it left a little bit of a sour taste in our mouth because the bottom line, this game should have been it was 55-0. Um, it should have been 77-0 if you really look at the fact that we missed 2 field goals on drives that should have been touchdowns, and you made a field goal when it should have been a touchdown. So technically it should have been 73-0 instead of 55-0. But, we'll take the 55. We'll take the 55.
Yeah, no, I agree, EJ. I mean, obviously, like you said, dominant run game. You have to obviously respect that defensive play as well. Started off with a fumble, and a little scoop and score there, which was really good to see. Man, I believe was it Bryce Thornton that brought it back?
Yep, Bryce Thornton.
Yeah, so really, I mean, just getting that confidence up in this defense, something we talked about, EJ, right? Turnovers need to happen this season, and we had a couple in this game, which was was amazing. I think we had 2 at when everything was said and done, so that was really cool. And we'll get into everything. I will say this. I feel really good about this defense, though. Obviously, they didn't test us the secondary enough to where I'm still not sure about the secondary. I think they only threw it wasn't a lot at all. So they didn't really test the secondary like I thought they might. So there's still kind of a question mark. But man, I do really like this defensive line. Something that I was really worried about, EJ, and we talked about that. I was like, man, this D line is not at least depth wise not something I'm really excited about. But man, everyone that I wanted to really showed out in that position group, and that really makes me happy in that whole realm of things. Now, offensively, yeah, we had a really good run game, but DJ Lagway did not. Either there's passes you could tell that he was a little rusty with, right? He was a little inaccurate at times. And just no really deep passes down the field except for VB3, which we'll get to obviously in a bit, who really shined in this game with obviously the Sports Center 1 catch that he had in the swamp, which is unbelievable. But yeah, just I didn't see what I wanted to see offensively personally. I wanted to see DJ really read the field, drop back, and a big issue that I had, EJ, and I want to hear your opinion on this. The offensive line at times looked rough. And when they have the starters in there. Now, the starters didn't stay in there for like the whole game. But I'm still a little worried about that right tackle spot with Bryce Lovett. He was struggling a little bit throughout the game. And even some guys that we've seen dominate before, whether it's Austin Barber or a few other guys, look like they had some trouble at times. And this is LIU. And so that, I know it's first game of the year. I'm not trying to overreact or anything, but I'm really nervous, man, because we saw what LSU did to that Clemson offensive line, which is a good offensive line. At Clemson in their Death Valley, now named Death Valley number 2. And so, if
Life Valley.
Yeah, gives you a lot of life. And so that's scary, man, when we have to face this pass rush that the LSU is going to be bringing with their blitz, and we'll get into all that, of course, later, in a few weeks for sure, next week, I guess. But that does scare me, EJ. And so I don't know. How did you feel about the position groups before we get into these stats? Did you like what you saw? Am I overreacting from the offensive line standpoint? I mean, the wide receivers look great, though. VB3 look great. I know we were worried about the special teams. And in a weird way, EJ, special teams did good. It's kind of like flipped, right? We were always kind of worried about the punt return, always kind of worried about, getting set up, and all that actually was great. We had the right number of guys on the field all the time. I didn't watch like the second half of the fourth quarter because obviously, we had LSU versus Clemson on. I really wanted to watch that. So I watched, 3.5 quarters of the game. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe there was a penalty. I don't know. But from what I know, there was no special teams penalties really. And the punting looked great. Tommy Doman had a really good punt. The one punt that he did do, I was very happy with how that ball came out. And of course, VB3 as a punt returner is going to be dangerous. This dude was a monster. But like you said, 2 missed field goals didn't look great for Trace Mack. He was off, man. And that's a little bit scary. Because we're going to need him, I feel like, this season. I don't feel like. I know we're going to need him in these big games, whether it's against Miami, who looked really good, or, LSU, who also looked great. Like, man, I was talking to EJ before we started recording and doing the live. I was like, man, this year just got even tougher. Like, every team that we thought was going to be good looks even better. And teams like Florida State that we thought were going to be absolute shit, in my opinion, I thought they were going to go 6-6. Looks like, even though I think people are overreacting a little bit, I still think they're a really solid team, and they could easily beat anybody on their schedule if they play like they did Saturday. And so I'm our schedule just got 10 times harder. It's a little bit scary. But EJ, am I overreacting with some of this stuff? I don't know, man. Maybe I am. I've never seen the Gators really good. You got to remember that too, guys. You know what I mean? Like I'm traumatized, dude, from years of pain.
Here's the thing. There's a beauty and a curse to playing the different schedules. So the last 3 years, we opened up with a top 10 team. 2 years you played Utah, then you played Miami. We won one game, and what happened? Oh, national champs. We're going to win every game. Billy Napier's the man. Anthony Richardson, Heisman. He literally was number one Heisman after that game. And then what happened? We lost pretty much 6 of the next 11 games. The next year. Well, actually, the next year's performance was pretty much how the whole season went. So that was people. That was the 2 number 3s. You didn't have enough people on the field.
Oh,
it was terrible. Last year's game against Miami, though, we're not going to win. We're going to win 2 games. We're going to win 2 games. I can't believe this. Now you play LIU. There's really nothing. I mean, this was basically a high school thing. You look at, I saw the high school, there's like St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale, which is right down the street from where I used to live, and some team in California, and either one of those high school teams could have beat LIU. So you can't really go too much. Now, the offensive line, I agree, they didn't look that great, but here's the thing. The offensive line, you seek to impose your will over the course of the game, right? You seek to have a deliberate offense, a deliberate game plan, and you use that game plan to start to really wear people out. And that wasn't the game plan in this game. The game plan in this game was snap the ball, high, quick pass. We're not even going to develop a game plan against LIU offensively. We're probably 100% focused on USF after what we saw against Boise State. And let's just hope that a couple quick screens and DJ, basically street balling it is enough to win this game. Couple that with the fact that LIU, if you looked at those players, they're way smaller than the one when you're an offensive lineman and you're big and you're 6'6", 300 pounds, and you're playing against a 6'3", 200 pounder on the defensive line that is a little bit quicker than you. Yeah, you're supposed to be able to pancake them, but it's kind of like annoying. And I just saw some frustration from the UF offensive line. So it wasn't that LIU was just getting after it and we're trash. It was just kind of like, we didn't really have a game plan. We didn't have a blocking scheme. We were trying to street ball it. We thought we were way better, which we were. And at the end of the day, one thing that I will say is 0 penalties. I think this has to be the first game that I've ever, and I think these were, I don't even know what kind of refs these were. 0 penalties? Are you kidding me? LIU had 12 penalties. I think they had 12 penalties for 100 yards. We had 0 penalties. Now, if this was an SEC game, this would have never happened. It would have never, even if we literally committed no penalties, they would find something to throw a flag on. But the fact that we had 0 penalties, no holding, no pass interference, no face mask, no, you have too many people on the field, that was a great sign. Regardless of your opponent, 0 penalties is a great sign. We saw so many games, and we'll get into them, where a stupid, boneheaded penalty cost you pretty much the game. And we all know, as Florida fans, how much a penalty can cost you shoe throw. Okay, so 0 penalties. I think that was great. DJ Lagway not reading the field. You know, let's let the USF game really tell us the story, because at the end of the day, Dallas Wilson, Aiden Mizell weren't playing in this game. You had a couple guys didn't play, and then DJ, he was visibly, I think, frustrated in the post game that he should have played a lot better. He holds himself to a high standard, and like I said, I just really think we didn't have a significant preparation for this particular opponent in place offensively. Um, so I can't really draw too much from that standpoint. The next game, that's really where we're going to be able to see where we are and what we hope to be able to be for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, I do like that, and USF's gonna be a good test. And we'll get into that Boise State and USF game when we review Week 1, and obviously I think that's gonna be a nice little segue. You know what I mean, into all that a little bit later. But yeah, so we'll get into all that. But yeah, also let's get into the stats real quick. Let's just start with that.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, so the first one we have is Florida offense versus the LIU defense. EJ, do you kind of want to go through some of these?
Yeah. So obviously, not too much we can draw from playing LIU, right? But these stats are critical, particularly the ones that we have, predicting the performance moving forward as we start to accumulate these stats. All of them are located online. Florida football cumulative stats. All you got to do is Google it. But a couple of key things to highlight: 86 yards given up on defense, and I think 2 first downs. That's incredible. I mean, yes, you're playing LIU, a team that's completely overmatched. And what gives you an advantage on defense? The only time you have an advantage on defense is if you are collectively more athletic than the offense that you're playing, right? That's the only reason. When it's even, the advantage always goes to the offense. And if they're significantly more athletic than you, then you're going to get blown out. And there's no way you can stop them. But if your defense is just more athletic than the other team's offense, that's the only chance you have. And that was just what was. It didn't matter who we put out there. We put first team, second team, third team, fourth team guys were out there, and LIU didn't really have a chance. The other difference is the play differential. We ran 31 more plays in LIU because we held them to 2 first downs. This is something that we have to monitor going throughout the rest of the season, because remember, last year our opponents ran about 10 to 12 more plays a game than us, which puts a significant strain on your defense. The other thing that I like is points per play. 0.74. And points, we gave up 0 points, so 0 points per play. But when you look at that 0.74 number, last year we were at 0.4. That's a huge statistic for efficiency. When you talk about how efficient your offense is, you talk about how many points you're going to score per snap. Anytime you're above 0.5, that's like top 10 in the nation. Let's see if we stay that way. Let's see if we stay that way. I really also liked Tramel Jones. Now, he was ranked number 17, and his last name is Jones, which is my last name and my number. So I really like that guy. But anyway, I want to know what your thoughts are about his play in the second half. He got pretty much all the snaps in the second half. He was pretty decent with his yards per pass, although not as good as, maybe, so Lagway was 15 out of 18, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tramel Jones was 12 out of 18, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. In relief performance, remember, he's playing with the second teamers, or the third teamers, really, that were out there for a majority of that second half. What do you think about him, Tramel Jones, playing the majority of the game, and we didn't get to see like Harrison Bailey or any of those guys.
That was weird, right? I think like a lot of us, we didn't know if it was gonna be Harrison. We thought Harrison Bailey was gonna get that, that second string role. I think he'll definitely get that second string role, probably leading forward. I don't know. I want to say yeah, but just to protect that red shirt of Trammell. But I think he's a solid QB too. Was he insane? No, but he did what he had to do. I thought he fit the ball in some really tight spaces. I haven't really seen a lot of him from high school. I haven't really watched a lot of highlights. I just kind of took the word from everyone else that did do the research on him. He has a nice arm, man. He can sling a ball in some tight spaces. I think he moves in the pocket very well as well. He's not a guy that doesn't read the field and run. Now he did first play of the game. I think he did do that. He just stepped back and just ran. But that was probably a design. I don't know. But he was a guy who really did read the field. He also did a really good job distributing the ball to a lot of different receivers. Obviously, I think it was a pass to like you said, Livingston, and then Spirito or whatever, who's been with us, I feel like, since 2002 at this point. But he did a really good job distributing the ball to a lot of different guys, and just look pretty comfortable back there. Weirdly, right? A lot of these young guys, even in these games, look a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious. But I thought he did a really good job of just kind of keeping his composure, even in this kind of game, as a true freshman, and did a really, really good job. I was very happy with it. It makes me feel a little bit more at ease with if DJ does battle injuries, God forbid, throughout the season. We do have a second string guy that literally he plays just like DJ. It's very weird. Like just like his throwing motion, like you know what I mean. His presence in the backfield is very DJ Lagway like. And I know I'm not the only person to say that. I'm definitely not the first. And yeah, he's like literally a DJ 2 back there. He just has that same pocket presence that DJ Lagway has, just a lot smaller. But yeah, I'm like a little bit slipperier, I guess. Which is obviously he can play to his advantage. So, anyways, I know I'm rambling. Long story short, I thought he was a really, really solid guy for us back there, and made me feel better about myself or about this team, I guess.
Well, that's good. I like that assessment, and I agree. It was interesting that it was a Trammell Jones game. We'll see what happens moving forward, but a couple other things that I do want to kind of highlight on the the offense versus the defense, the LIU defense. We time of possession. We averaged last year about 33 minutes, so we were around the same with 34 minutes. That's huge for us to maintain possession of the ball more than our opponents. To keep the defense fresh, to keep DJ Lagway on the field. Anytime Lagway is on the field, there's a chance to score. And the third down percentage. So last year, I think we were at around 54%, or was that 41%?
I think it was 41.
Yeah, 40. Okay, yeah, 41%. 53% on third downs. I know it's LIU. We were like playing the Water Boys in the third quarter. But anyway, you gotta do a little bit better than that. I think you have to be a little bit more deliberate. One of the things that like if you watch Billy Napier play one of these games against an overmatched team, it's a very different approach than like Lane Kiffin, right? Lane Kiffin is actually putting together a game plan for these teams.
Which I like.
He's actually like developing what is their weakness. We're going to exploit it. We're going to score as many points as we can. Billy Napier is the complete opposite. So the fact that we won 55-0 when we basically street balled the whole game is impressive in and of itself, but it was LIU. Not too much we can take away from it. I do like the rushing statistics in the game. Jaden Baugh had 109 yards on just 9 carries, which I think is like 12 yards a carry, if I'm doing my math correct. He had one run that was just, I know it's LIU and it looked like their defense looked like they're stuck in mud trying to tackle the guy, but he looked electrifying. Like, wow, this guy is running with some some purpose. I saw a little bit of that last night in the Notre Dame game, that number 4 for Notre Dame and number 24. Those two they run with that same. When I get that ball, I'm gonna put everything I have into running. I'm gonna jump over everyone. I'm literally gonna leap over every defense. And I got the same from now. Ball is not gonna try to jump over people. He's gonna run through you, and it's gonna hurt to try to tackle him. But he is gonna be the key weapon on this team moving forward. If he's having a good game, the other team's in trouble.
I agree, man. Yeah, he's not going to do a Jordan Love, hurdle every single guy in front of him, which is wild. But he will run through you. And yeah, there was one run. It was just like a nice little 20-yard run, and then the touchdown run that he had. I don't know which one you were referring to, but they both were insane. And a touchdown run. I mean, he was just spinning off of dudes, and it was you cannot tackle the guy. There was one moment in the other one where he had like 3 guys on top of him, and he somehow came out. I was like, what's going on? And like you said, I know these guys are like, Uber drivers and stuff, but still the fact that he was able to play the way he did was really good. It was just, it's nice to see. We all expect it from Jaden Ball, but to really see it, man, it gets me excited to see what he's going to do against these SEC defenses. And and even this Saturday against USF, because you never know, you might have to rely on him a little bit at the passing game if Napier wants to, run 17 screens in a row. We'll see what happens. But but yeah, it's been really interesting. Speaking of that, though, how'd you feel about the play calling? I know, you talked about how, Napier's out of the guy. He's not a Lane Kiffin who puts, the play, the game plan together for these smaller teams, which I feel like you need to. I feel like we need to go back to Steve Spurrier where we're getting 70 points up on the board, even on teams like USF. You know what I mean? But obviously Billy Napier's not that kind of guy, and we talked about that, EJ, right? Like Billy Napier, I'm not trying to just sit here and just shit on the guy, but when you have we've seen this so consistently, even when we know we're the better team, even against like SEC teams, we have the tendency to keep it close and to not keep the foot on the gas, and you know what I mean? And I feel like you're putting more pressure, not only on the fans and on me and my heart and blood pressure, but also on the on our defense, who has to keep getting those stops. We've seen that so many times, EJ, and I want Billy Napier to just be more aggressive. You know what I mean? Scary money don't make money. Trust DJ Lagway. Even if you're up by 2 touchdowns on USF or LSU or whoever we're going to be playing, keep your foot on the gas, pedal to the metal. Something we haven't really seen, dude, and it's very frustrating. So, anyways, back to this game. How did you feel about the play calling? I personally wasn't a big fan of it. Like I said, I wish we would have seen more basic route concepts, maybe for DJ, of just drop back, throw a 10-yard pass. We barely saw that from DJ Lagway, and I think that's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to just say the play calling was trash, which it was. But then it's kind of like it's Billy Napier, So the thing that this really does hurt, I think, the team long term is when you develop a game plan and you say, this is our game plan for this opponent. Typically an offensive coordinator would do that. I don't know if Billy Napier's doing that, but typically an offensive coordinator spends their whole week analyzing the defense. Well, typically they do it for the whole season moving forward, but they'll focus on your next opponent for a week, develop a whole game plan, and then they put it down on paper and let's execute this game plan on Saturday. And then you evaluate and make adjustments during the game to keep up the momentum. But then the thing that we don't do is he'll say, yeah, we developed a game plan. We had a game plan. No, you didn't have a game plan against LIU. What that hurts is in this next game, and then in the 2 games after that, when you actually do have a game plan, how is your team practicing executing the game plan? You know what I mean? You need experience and reps in this is what the coach has outlined for us to do. Let's get out there and do it. And then we make adjustments. When you don't do that, when you just show up and basically, well, we're just going to do screen passes because we're just so much better than them, your team doesn't really learn from having a plan that was put in place and evaluate themselves based on their ability to execute the plan. and Billy, I know they're doing the press conference now, but he said, yeah, lots to clean up, we cleaner execution before SEC play, cleaner, and I'm kind of like, well, what the hell are they executing other than just fundamentals out there against LIU? You know what I mean? Like, I would have liked to see. Now we did score, and it was, when they poor LIU, the guy dropped the ball, got hit, so he never got hit that hard before, and the second play of the game, we're running it back for a touchdown. The game was over then, but poor guy. And by the way, we were drinking Long Island iced teas at halftime, okay, because they needed them. But anyway, if you don't know what a Long Island iced tea is, Google it. It's very strong. But anyway, the bottom line is you got to have a game plan put together and execute it. And then, so the next week, it's repetition. You do the same thing, and your team is learning from their mistakes. It's kind of ambiguous now. It's kind of like, okay, well, what didn't we accomplish in this game other than we're just supposed to show up and win by 50? So that's what you evaluate your teams on. And the thing is like Nick Saban would always say this the best. He would say he didn't care what the final score was, Nick Saban. What he wrote in his book was he would never look at the final score. He would never look at the statistics. He would never look at any of that. He would just say, did you feel you executed the game plan, and did you play the absolute best that you could possibly play? And the answer to Saban is pretty much always no, you didn't do the best you could possibly do, which is why their team was so good. Like, they would beat you 50-0, and then he would still be yelling at people on the sideline because they're not playing the absolute best that they can play every single play. And, we didn't have to do that in this game, but there will be points in the season where you have to know what the plan is and execute it, and then get out there and make adjustments when it's not working. I didn't see that in this game. We'll see what happens next week.
I agree. I'm with you there. All right, let's go and get into this next bit here. It's going to be, I believe, the Florida defense. Yep, Florida defense versus the LIU offense. EJ, dive through some of the statistics here.
Yeah. Again, the defense, nothing too much to say here. They were the stars of the show. The defensive stats are the LIU offensive stats here. The bottom line is we're just way more athletic than the LIU offense. The LIU quarterback was mobile, which, watching all the teams we got to play this year, looks like you got these mobile quarterbacks. That's something we got to talk about. Everybody has a mobile quarterback that runs around like a headless chicken, and you can't tackle him. And so you got to have defensive ends who can run these people down. And you got a little bit of that, but then again, there's no threat to expose you on the back end playing LIU. So we were able to kind of just overwhelm their offensive line, tackle. We have fundamental tackles. Their players are half the size of our players. So, it really didn't matter. But we didn't see any busts. We didn't see any wide open players for LIU. Typically, when we're playing these teams, I remember we played Charleston Southern 3 years ago. Dan Mullins last year. You had Charleston Southern, they scored 50 points. They scored 50 points on us. And we were looking around like, wait a minute. I thought we were the Florida Gators. So you didn't have any of that in this game. And they were FCS. Now they're a better FCS than LIU. But at the end of the day.
Oh, you're talking about Samford, right?
Oh, Samford. Yeah. We played it, and Emory Jones broke the passing record, which was great.
Crazy.
The fact that you needed to break the passing record to beat FCS team that wasn't even in the playoffs, it's a travesty. But anyway, LIU, we no busted assignments. We tackled well. We were everywhere we needed to be. And for them to not gain but 2 first downs and not even get 100 yards, when all of our starters on defense were pretty much done at halftime was very impressive. Um, the defense, based on where the offense is, they were looking rusty. Well, I don't even know if they were rusty because they didn't, like I said, I spent 20 minutes talking about how they didn't even put a game plan together. So if the offense is going to be a little bit behind the defense, which that happens to a lot of teams, I'm really happy to see the defense absolutely completely shut someone down. You're going to need that because this quarterback that we're going to play Saturday is just as good as the FSU one. He just probably doesn't have as many top players around him. So you have to be able to tackle. We tackled LIU. Let's see if we can tackle these next three teams who are all going to be very difficult offenses to defend.
I agree. It's really going to come down to the DNs. I'm with you there. Jaden Woods, by the way, played pretty well in this game. I was pretty excited with his performance. Obviously, a true freshman. He was a 5-star, wasn't he? High 4-star.
Yeah. He did great.
Yeah, did a really good job. Speaking of the defense, I said earlier that I was really proud of this defensive line. Michael Barrio, whatever his name is, number 93. I told you that he was my star to kind of look for in this defense, and he played really good on that interior, man. Started out the game with a really good TFL. Played phenomenally in this game, dude. So, yeah, all the guys. Also, there was a Bet, B-E-T-T, I think. Bet played a lot as well. Didn't really know too much about him, and I thought he did a pretty solid job on the interior as well. So I expect to see a little bit more of him. I was very happy, EJ, because obviously if you guys watched the preseason prediction and all that stuff, we gave our most confident things and our least confident things about the season and about the team this year and depth chart and all that stuff, which we dove super into. And my biggest worry was the depth of this team in general, but especially that defensive line. And I think that they did a really good job. Secondaries to be seen. Like you said, they did a really good job not allowing any explosives or any big plays. Because obviously, even against LIU, man, if you're not in the spot you need to be, and if you leave a guy wide open, that quarterback will hit you deep. He's a guy that can throw the ball, obviously, and get it where it needs to be. So they do have some playmakers out there. We did a pretty good job controlling that, containing it. Everyone did their job. One thing I really like too, EJ, the linebackers, bro. The linebackers jumped out at me. Now, we knew going into this game and into the season that the linebackers were going to be a strong point for this team. We talked about that. But golly, they look good. We didn't even have Pup Howard, Grayson Howard. He wasn't even back there. It really relied on some of these young guys with Miles Graham, Jaden Robinson, and Aaron Childs as well. They all did. Ty Jackson was out there for a bit too. Yeah. And they all did really, really well. I was really happy with how they performed, EJ, and how they kind of flew into the gap. Especially Aaron Childs, I thought did a really, really good job. We heard a lot of good things about him in fall camp. I thought he did a really good job slipping past blocks. Once again, this is LIU. Did a really good job, though, slipping past blocks and getting in the position he needed to get into. And that's going to be massive when you play these teams like USF, when you play these teams like LSU that like to run the ball with Durham, and some of these other teams is, in Tennessee and all those guys like to run the ball, and even Georgia is going to try to pound it. You're going to have to stop this run, right? Miami's a big one. We'll get into that, but here's a little preview for that. Miami likes to run the football. We've seen that, right? And I think Carson Beck is susceptible to making bad decisions, and we also saw that in Notre Dame, where he got bailed out a few times. I think that you're going to have to stop that run. And so if this interior defensive line can hold up and keep doing well, if these 4 linebackers that we have that are playing really well, plus Grayson Howard coming back, I think we have a really good chance of stopping the run and really relying on our secondary to make big choices. And I was pretty happy with how our safeties played as well, especially in the run game. So yeah, I'm very happy with our defense. I thought they all played really well. I mean, obviously, like you said, EJ, not much to take away here because it was LIU. But I mean, 0 points, 86 total yards for LIU. How can you not, as a Gator fan, take a step back and be like, hey, that's nice. It's good to see a big Easter egg there on the scoreboard.
Yes, it's good to see that. It's good to see, even though it was an FCS opponent, we've all been traumatized by losing to FCS teams before. Okay, Georgia Southern. Do we need it? Okay, so yes, Georgia Southern was a much better FCS team, but at the end of the day, we did what we were supposed to do, We didn't exert a lot of energy in doing it. And we needed that sort of introduction, tune up to get into the meat of the season because, boy, it ramps up after this.
You are not lying. All right. And then I just want to talk about the special teams. We kind of talked about it before, EJ. But like you said, we kind of had a pretty rough outing for Trey Smack. Went 2 of 5 for his kicking and field goals in this game. Extra points for 7 out of 7. But yeah, that's 40% when it comes to field goals. Now, a lot of those, I think one was like 57-yarder. You don't expect your guy to make that every single time. But there's a few others that he missed that, were definitely very makeable. Now, in all, Trey Smack's defense, bro should not be hitting field goals in this game. Like you said, they should have been touchdowns. I'm sorry, there's no excuse. Even if you have Tramel Jones and these other guys in there, there's no reason you should be going for 5 field goals in a game. 2, I understand, but 5,
yes.
Come on. Those are 3 field goals that there's no reason to have. And so that's obviously not okay. But yeah, Trey Smack, we'll figure it out. He's had weird games before, so I think he'll bounce back his senior season and have a pretty good week, hopefully starting this week, back in the swamp.
You said exactly what I was going to say. So thank you for saying that. Okay? Very intuitive.
Yeah.
Trey Smack didn't even warm up for this game. Why the hell would he warm up? He came in and thinking, I'm probably not even going to kick. I'm just going to kick extra points. They're trotting me out here to kick 50-yard field goals against LIU. I didn't practice for the. Now, listen. He's going to be a lot better moving forward. He was great last year. He didn't warm up on the sideline like he was supposed to, and that affected the kicking. Now, he should still be making them, but I'd be more worried if the distance of the kick was like nowhere near the goalpost. It was just a little bit off, which you can fix during, your whatever. Now, the other thing I'll say about special teams, Logan, Gator fans. That's the other thing that sort of pisses me off about Billy. We have no special teams whatsoever. Billy, look at Beamer Ball. Now, we make fun of Beamer Ball when we beat Beamer Ball, but Beamer Ball, let me tell you about Beamer Ball compared to what we have. They get one game-changing play a game on special teams, and it changes the entire game. Urban Meyer even said, one big special teams play, you block a kick, you run the kick back, there's a 90% chance you win the game. Billy Napier puts absolutely zero emphasis on special teams. There's zero emphasis. There's no kickoff return, even though Brown is going to be great. Nothing. Set up the return. Nope. Let's block a LIU kick. Nope. They punted 50 times. Block one of them. You're missing field goals. You didn't even tell your special teams coach to get your kicker warmed up before the game. We have to have special teams this season create opportunities for the team. And these other teams who have specialized coaches and have head coaches that actually, oh yeah, I have one brain cell that tells me special teams can actually help you win the game. When 100% of everything has to be on the offense to score every single point and the defense to get every single stop, and there's no thought to the special teams, it is going to make it so much more difficult, especially when these games are close and you get a game-changing play. Look at South Carolina. We'll talk about that game. But yesterday, they were up 17-11. I was watching the game. Beamer Ball. Virginia Tech punted the ball. They got a penalty, 5 yards. Now, if it was Billy Napier, he would have said, yeah, accept the penalty. We'll add 5 yards to the end of the kick, and we'll start at the 20-yard line instead of the 15. No big deal. Shane Beamer was like, excuse me, this is Beamer ball. We're going to have them re-kick it. Okay? I don't care. They're re-kicking that. And what happened? The guy took the kick back for a touchdown like it was Sports Center top 10 moment. And I'm thinking to myself, the game's over. It's over. Pack your bags, Virginia Tech. You got Beamer balled by your Beamer ball, which you used to do the Beamer ball, but now South Carolina's the one doing it. That is the type of coaching that we need from a special team standpoint that we just don't get with Billy. And there's going to be a game where there's going to be a special teams blunder on our part or a big play on the other team's part that's going to change the game, and we're not going to be able to recover. And I fear that that's how we maybe lose a game or two.
Oh, that would come on, EJ. Don't do that, EJ. Yeah, no, I would. I mean, I hope not, man. I really hope we got it figured out, but I mean, that could definitely be an issue later on. So we'll just keep an eye on that going forward. I think we'll also get tested against USF, right? So that's something to also like this. I think this USF game is going to reveal a lot. So I'm very excited to see the Gators play this weekend. I believe at 4:15. I think we're on ESPN Plus again. I think we are. I think for this game too. Right?
I think we should be on SEC Network.
Oh, nice. We upgraded. Woo. Love it.
Let me see. Let me check.
Well, I wonder if USF will sneak into the. Nah, they won't sneak into top 25. Never mind.
I don't know.
Dude,
I don't know.
Imagine we have another top 25 matchup. That'd be insane. I don't think so because Boise State was 25. Obviously USF is good. It's pretty handily. We'll see. So special teams, yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens there. Tommy Doman, 1 punt for I believe 47 yards. Let me check and just make sure. Yeah, 1 punt, 47 yards, was inside the 20. Did a really good job, man. Love to see that from the former national champ. And punt returns, Vernell Brown, VB3, baby. 3 for 45 yards, 15 on average, though, which is awesome, at a 21-yard return at one point. Bro's quick. He's slippery. He's slimy. Love to see that. Of course, had the one-handed grab as well from DJ, I believe, in the second quarter. So yeah, great job by him. Love to see it. We have a guy back there that's now a dangerous returner, which can obviously be massive. So hopefully, I also want to see us return more kickoffs. I don't know about you, EJ. I want to see more of that. I feel like especially if we have a guy like VB3 back there, why not, instead of doing the super fair catch, why not actually return it every time? If NCAA 26 has taught me anything, it's that. So we'll see what happens there. But overall, I'm pretty happy with our secondary with our special teams performance, EJ. Other than, of course, the field goal.
Yeah. Let's keep it up.
That's it. That's all, EJ. Let's just keep it up. All right. Well, that's gonna be our review for the LIU game. Final thoughts. I'm pretty happy with what I saw. I'm if I was on a scale of like disappointed to extremely happy, I'm neutral. I didn't see exactly everything I wanted to see. I'm still very hesitant, but I think USF's going to show a lot. So there's some good things that I'm glad I saw that I needed to see, and there's a lot of things that I wanted to see, and it just nothing showed at all. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm a little worried, but we'll see how these next few weeks go, especially this Saturday in the Swamp against the USF Bulls. EJ, any last words on the game before we move on?
Yeah, no, I think I predicted us 52-7, and so we outperformed that a little bit, 55-0. We covered the spread, which was 48, which was great if you're a betting person. But yeah, this next game is really going to be an indicator of what we have in Gainesville.
Beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and cruise. But we have like an hour left of the stream, so we're just gonna go through our week 1 picks from last week. Don't want to spend too much time on each pick, but we're gonna go ahead and definitely talk about them a little bit. So we're gonna start with week 1 we had Nebraska favored by 6.5 at Cincinnati, EJ. Nebraska gets the win 20-17. In a really wild game, by the way. Cincinnati was driving the ball down the field with Sorsby at QB, then throws a pick there with like 30 seconds left. We both picked Nebraska to win. Nebraska wins 20-17.
Big time win for Matt Rule, because he was a little bit on the hot seat here, which was kind of crazy because they ran Scott Frost out of town. But Raiola, 243 yards, pretty good. I also saw that the Cincinnati quarterback, he only had 69 yards passing. So what was up with that? I watched a couple of the highlights in the game that it seemed like the Nebraska defense had a great game plan, or maybe he was just that bad. But when you have to basically come back to beat a team that only threw 69 yards, that's not a good sign. Okay. I remember we lost to Georgia Southern, and I don't even think they completed a pass in the game. Now, this team at least had 69 yards, but that wasn't a good sign. This isn't a good sign. But hey, you won the game on the road. Props to Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm not super high on Nebraska, especially after that performance. I am there with you, dude, even though Josh Pate hasn't made the playoff. Oops. Next one we have is Auburn, favored by 2.5 at Baylor. By the way, these are pick'ems. We didn't go by the spread. I had Auburn winning this one. You picked Baylor, EJ. Auburn wins 38-24, and honestly, Baylor should have won this game. Baylor actually when it comes to yards, they actually won the yardage game 483-415. I think what it really came down to, EJ, was the fact that Baylor had the ball like inside Auburn territory a few times and went for it on fourth down and went 3 for 6 on fourth down in the game, while Auburn went 1 for 1. I really, really like what Hugh Freeze did with Jackson Arnold in this game. He had 137 rushing yards and only 108 passing yards, but he went for 11 for 17 in this game with a 94 QBR. I thought they had him throw some easy balls. He had some like about 2 or 3 really nice kind of 20-yard passes down the field that were pretty accurate. But everything else is pretty simple and easy for him, and of course used his legs to get the victory, man. So honestly, Baylor should have won this game. But Auburn is a solid team that I feel like, if Jackson Arnold can keep playing this consistent, I think it's going to be pretty massive. But if this, if the 11 for 17 for 108 yards is any indication for Baylor's secondary, man, Baylor's going to be a little dirty team, I think, this year, man. They should have won this game, and I think they're going to we talked about that, right? Preseason, we made our picks. I said if Baylor can figure out the secondary, they're going to be a good team, and maybe they did. So I think this is a pretty solid win for Auburn, considering that Baylor, had that many yards compared to them.
Yeah, the Baylor turnovers. Baylor got it 24-17. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they might do something. And then Auburn hit them with a 98-yard kick return for a touchdown, which is
that was crazy.
Special teams. Napier, did you watch this game? Special teams. Okay. The other thing, Auburn, they ran for over 300 yards. They just ran all over Baylor. So Baylor couldn't stop the run. You got to stop the run when you're playing Auburn. Baylor couldn't do it. And that was pretty much the difference in the game. Impressive win for Auburn, I have to say. I mean, I didn't expect them to be able to win this game on the road against a Baylor team that I think is probably one of the top teams in the Big 12. But hey, great job for Auburn. Let's see what they got this season coming up. They got Alabama in the last game of the season.
I think it's in Jordan Hare, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's in Jordan Hare. Hey, Auburn fans, life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Unlike Clemson fans. Next one we have Virginia Tech facing South Carolina, the Aflac kickoff. There's 2 Aflac kickoffs, bro. I hate these neutral site kickoff games, but whatever. This is here in Atlanta, man. Yeah, the traffic was absolutely insane. Thanks, game. So, yeah, Virginia Tech plays South Carolina. It was 95% South Carolina fans there. This was a fun one, man. My big takeaway, like you said, special teams is massive. Lenora Sellers, I think it's a little bit overrated. I think Lenore Sellers is a kind of quarterback who is not consistent, right? He has like those 2 big plays in a game, which is all you really need from a quarterback. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like he's not a guy who he's not. I'm trying to think of a good comparison for a QB, but I like Garrett Nussmeier, right? Garrett Nussmeier is a quarterback who has really high highs, but then sometimes just makes mistakes, and you're like, what are you doing, right? Lenore Sellers, I will say this, is a guy who doesn't really make a lot of mistakes, but he just kind of plays average and then has big games, big moments every once in a while, which is kind of what I guess you would rather have out of a QB than really high highs and really low lows. But he played good in this game. Nothing super, super flashy, but he is still just, he's Lenore Sellers back there running around. You do have to give props to the Virginia Tech defense. I thought they played really well, especially on the D line. They got to Lenore Sellers a lot. So a lot of drops by the South Carolina wide receivers as well. So other than Lenore Sellers, you have to look at the South Carolina offense, and there's a lot of question marks there. Virginia Tech, man, Kyron Jones might be the most inaccurate quarterback I've ever seen in my life. It's like you play NCAA and you put the QB accuracy all the way down to 0. He had so many opportunities to get the ball where it needed to be, so many guys that he could have thrown the ball to, and instead throws it to the guys in the all black, and that's why he had 2 interceptions. And yeah, so a fun game overall. It was very close there for a little bit, but Virginia Tech, buddy of mine, Ryan Holcomb, was at the game. He's a Virginia Tech fan, and yep, he was very distraught. Let's just say that. Cried at a Waffle House. I'm joking, but he was definitely not happy.
Yeah, so a couple things about this game. It's got to be a little bit conflicting for you, particularly because, Sweet Magnolias is based in South Carolina, but so you had South Carolina coming to Atlanta where Sweet Magnolias is filmed. And when isn't the traffic bad in Atlanta? So this just made it worse, I'm sure. So there you go. So I watched this game yesterday. I thought it was an interesting game. Did Virginia Tech score a touchdown in this game?
No, I think it was all field goals.
Yeah, it was all field goals and a safety.
Yep.
So, Virginia Tech, spoiler alert, if you didn't know this, you need to score touchdowns if you're going to win big games. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, the special teams call from Shane Beamer to not accept the penalty and allow for the punt return for a touchdown. Who is the guy that ran that punt return? I was trying to look up his name. Was it Swain?
Yeah, Vakari Swain. Yep.
Okay, yeah. Vakari, I like that name. It's a really good name. Apparently he's a track star. Then you also had Nick Harbor, who's another track star with the 64-year-old bomb. So the bottom line is you had 2 game-changing plays for South Carolina, and the rest was pretty much stinkers. And that's all you needed to win this game because you had a really good defense. The other thing about this game, last thing, the defensive end for South Carolina, I forgot the guy's name. What was the guy's name? Stewart? Is it Stewart?
Who are we talking
It'll
about?
come to me. South Carolina has this like first round defensive end that's like
Yeah.
This guy was just all over the field.
Dylan Stewart.
Dylan Stewart. I was like, Virginia's Tech, double team, triple team, quintuple team. He's the only guy doing anything. It didn't matter. He was all over the field. He was sacking people, tackling. This guy is incredible. Good thing we don't play him because he'd be coming after us. I wasn't too impressed with South Carolina, to be honest with you. I put them in my 10-point confidence game. I was like, okay, Lenore Sellers is going to dominate them. They're going to have no answer. Virginia Tech actually put some resistance up, and it's the first game. People are getting jitters out. People are a little bit nervous. People don't want to make mistakes. So I get that. But South Carolina, hey, at the end of the day, you did what you had to do against a Power 5 team that'll probably be better than 500 this year.
Yep, and I think South Carolina fans, I mean, I don't know if they'll be okay. Probably not. They probably won't be okay with that. But as long as the SEC team wins the national championship, I'm sure they'll be fine because they're obsessed with the SEC. Little Bacon Bit says USC Junior didn't look good. All they have is Sellers and that track kid. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right, because that's really all they needed to beat Virginia Tech. But when you're playing these other teams, now, hey, they play Alabama. Uh-oh.
I mean, they almost got it done last year. We'll see what happens. I mean, Bama looks, they're all over the place right now. So we got that game. Next one we have Temple at Massachusetts. Temple favored by 2.5. EJ, you took Massachusetts. I took Temple. Temple gets it done 42-10.
Wait a minute. I didn't take Massive. Did I take Massive 2 shits?
Yeah, you did.
Oh.
You did. You know what's funny? I actually made a mistake too. I picked a team on our video, and then picked the opposite team in our pick'em that we have on ESPN. And I was like, I'm pissed about that, but it's fine, whatever. So yeah, Temple gets it done. The quarterback Evan Simon throws 6 touchdowns. I didn't watch this game. This was like a straight up guess bias, by the way. No skill went into this pick at all. But yeah, big game for Temple, man. That's a really good win, by the way. UMass is pretty trash. They haven't been great, really, but yeah, big win for Temple, man.
Yeah, when we played UMass, maybe about 6 years ago, Jim McElwain was the coach. We all got these shirts, the UMass shirts, because it says UMass, and then we just put a big D in front of it, and so it just says, what it says when you put a big D in front of UMass. So that was funny, and that's exactly what they look like in this game, playing against Temple. You get beat 42-10. It's the worst, and I think, okay, so here's the stat that I pulled for this game. Temple snapped the FBS worst 20-game road losing streak. They lost 20 straight FBS road games until they played this game. And then they won 42-10. So that's why I picked UMass. So, whatever.
Dude, if I would have saw that stat, I probably would have went to the same thing. All right, we're gonna cruise through these next ones just so we have enough time to talk about USF, and we're not in no rush. Next one we have is Virginia, Coastal Carolina at Virginia. Virginia was favored by 12. Virginia gets it done. We both picked Virginia to win this game, and they win 48-7. Virginia looked really, really good in this game. Chandler Morris looked really good. This run game was solid. Defensively, they looked phenomenal as well. I was very, very happy with what I saw from Virginia, man. And maybe they might be taking their coach is still Tony Elliott, right? I believe the old Clemson offensive coordinator. He's getting stuff done at Virginia, man. They're a team to watch over there. I'm not saying they're going to do anything, but just a team to watch in the ACC. I think that's a really good win for him, man.
Yeah, so I saw that Chandler Morris, he got injured. He had to come out of the game. Yeah, I mean, the game was over. So I didn't go back and check to see if he's back. But when he was in the game, 264 yards passing, incredible. And Coastal Carolina, they're not a terrible team. But this era of the transfer portal, where all the best players on these smaller teams are now going to big Power 5 teams to get money, I don't know. And then kind of the bottom feeder team players from the higher ranked teams, maybe go to smaller like FCS, FBS teams. I don't know, but yeah, this was just a complete beatdown.
I agree. Next game we have Cal. Cal was not.
This was surprising.
Yeah, this was very surprising. Where was it at? There it is. Cal at Oregon State. Oregon State favored by 3. We both picked Cal here, EJ, and Cal gets the win 34-15. Love to see it. My boy, Jaron Kawi, not going to try to say the last name because I would butcher it. It looks very Hawaiian. 20 for 30, 234 yards and 3 touchdowns. I told you, EJ, I really like this kid. I thought he was going to do really well this season. A young kid comes out here and dominates. Played phenomenal. Good run game as well from California. Malik Murphy, the quarterback from Oregon State. Yes, the Texas and Duke transfer that's finally now at Oregon State. Played like Malik Murphy does, right? Very average, had a turnover, but still played pretty decent. And that's what we've seen from Malik Murphy in the past. he did some good work on the ground as well. But yeah, man, I love this Cal quarterback. He's a guy that's definitely going to be in the transfer portal probably at the end of this year, and is going to be a big guy somewhere. Young dude, just the way he plays too, very poised. Very excited to see what he does in the ACC.
Yeah, Sagapulete, is that how we say it?
Sure.
But anyway, they're in the ACC. Why wouldn't you want to transfer? You're in the ACC. You're big ball. But anyway, this was kind of surprising because Oregon State, I'm still traumatized from when they beat the crap out of us in Vegas a few years ago. But I think looking at this team, defensively, they just didn't have an answer for the Cal quarterback, who is a true freshman. So they probably completely underestimated him. I don't know. I think Cal, with this performance, you got a chance in the ACC to make some noise.
I agree. I totally agree. Next game we have was the game from last night. Notre Dame, they travel to face Miami. Notre Dame was favored by 2.5. I picked Notre Dame. You were smart, EJ, and picked Miami to get it done, and that's exactly what they do. Miami wins 27-24, and honestly, a phenomenal game. Definitely going to be a game you look back on this year, and look back on it, and it's going to probably show us a lot from these two teams later on. Great game here, man. It's really interesting. Number one, CJ Carr, I was actually very happy with how he played. This Notre Dame offensive line did struggle with this Miami pass rush quite a bit throughout this game. Also, too, there was absolutely zero adapting from this coaching staff from Notre Dame. Miami ran the same play like 5 times. The same screenplay, I think it was not 5 times. It was 3 times in a row, and for combined 25 yards. It was ridiculous. It worked every single time. Little Bacon Bit says Miami was so bailed. Refs were glazing them. I love it. And I think that that there was no adapting from the defensive side from Notre Dame, which is really interesting. Obviously, they got a new guy coming in, a new defensive coordinator under Marcus Freeman. Now, offensively, too, horrible play calling once again. They were throwing screenplays that were not working. It worked at some points and then would not work. They also were very dedicated to getting CJ Carr the ball and doing these little QB draws and stuff, but it worked in some points, didn't work at others. I think they did a little bit too much. He had 11 carries. I think that's way too much for a guy like CJ Carr when really his talent stems from his arm. But yeah, that's my Notre Dame thing. Miami, on the other hand, they played pretty conservative there late, which obviously gave the opportunity for Notre Dame to come back. Carson Beck did not wow me at all. He got bailed a little bit at certain points. I think that he obviously should have threw a pick, but it was one of the best catches I've ever seen. And just a guy who, he's a good quarterback. He showed that he's a good quarterback, but he had a run game to really rely on. 37 carries throughout this game. That's an insane amount for 3 running backs, really between Mark Fletcher and Tremar Brown, who I think are both really good RBs. So, if you stop the Miami run game, I think Carson Beck is susceptible to making mistakes. Mekhi Toney, last thing I want to speak on, the freshman receiver for Miami, number 10, bro's an absolute monster. He's really good. They target him a lot as well. So if we got to be careful when we play him, but we'll get into that obviously in a couple weeks.
Yeah, very evenly matched game, I thought, on paper going in, and I just gave the advantage to Miami because they're playing at home. And from a quarterback standpoint, CJ Carr, I think he surprised me. I think he's going to be a little bit better than what I thought going into the season. I thought Notre Dame being ranked number 6, I think, was solely based on what they did last year, but returning Love, the running back, who I think is incredible. Like, that guy, he runs with it's like when they give him the ball, they say, look, here's the ball. If you get as many yards as you can, we give you $1 million. That's literally how he runs. And I love to see it. I wish more people would play like him. They didn't give him the ball enough, though. The first half, it was like, you got number 4, Notre Dame. give him the freaking ball. But anyway, yeah, I figured there would be some, little bacon bits. I think you said something about the refs. The game started out with like no penalties, and then all of a sudden I'm watching the game and every play is a penalty. So, but anyway, Carson Beck, I don't think is as bad as a lot of people were saying that he was at Georgia. He did get bailed out by a couple of great plays by his offense. The one, the guy that had the one-handed catch, which was incredible, by the way.
CJ Daniels, right?
CJ Daniels, that was probably the best catch of the season for them. And I think he didn't even have a touchdown catch last year, and he gets the most incredible catch of his career in the first game. So, Notre Dame's defense looked much better than Miami's defense in this game. It's just Notre Dame did not have enough firepower in the pass game, and they just did not have enough. They didn't have enough in the first half. They should have scored more points in the first half. When you put yourself in a little bit of a hole, and even though they were only down by a touchdown, you should have had at least 3 more points. That turnover that gave Miami, I think they had 2 turnovers in this game that stopped a very impressive drive, and then also gave Miami the opportunity to kick a field goal. So that's like a 10-point, that could be like a 20-point turnaround. Because if you score and then they don't score, but they score and you don't score, that's a 14-point turnaround right there. So that's how this game went. It'll be interesting to see our game plan in this one, because I think we have a much more, or just as an aggressive pass rush as Notre Dame does. Mm-hmm. I'm not convinced we're as solid on the back end as Notre Dame is. I think the DBs for Notre Dame are just a little bit, I trust them a little bit more.
Yep.
But on the offensive side of the ball, by the time we go to Miami, are we going to have it figured out to where we can score? Because that's the thing with Notre Dame, that it takes them forever to get down there. DJ, throw that ball, give it the ball, power run, get the lead, put the pressure on Beck to have to make every play, and that's how you beat Miami. If you come out there slow boating it around with Billy Napier's screens, and we can't, absolutely zero help from special teams, all of a sudden Miami is going to stay in the game and end up winning. But if you put the pressure on Beck, where he's always got the pressure on him,
yep,
that's how you beat them. And that's what we're going to need to be able to do. But yeah, I picked Miami because it's at Miami, and it's an evenly matched team with a quarterback at Notre Dame I didn't really know too much about him. I knew about Beck. Beck won the game. There you go.
Yeah, I get that. A little bacon bit did say that, yeah, Jeremiah Love was averaging 7 yards a carry, and they decided to throw it. Bro got 6 carries this entire game. That is ridiculous for Notre Dame.
If I was Notre Dame, I would say, I'd be like the video game. Handoff, direct snap, wild Irish. I would have given him the ball 100 times. I remember Nick Saban. This might have been too early for a lot of people. When he had Mark Ingram, he said, "Hey, what happens when we give Mark Ingram the ball? He runs for 5 yards bare minimum every time. Let's give him the ball until he wears out." And then they were direct snapping it to him, handoff up the middle, direct snap, handoff up the middle, power run. The fact that Notre Dame didn't do that is a travesty. But anyway.
The play calling was so bad. They got to get that fixed for sure. Next one we have is LSU traveling to Clemson. LSU gets the win 17-10. Garrett Nussmeier looked pretty solid throughout this game. I think the big story of this game is LSU defense, right? Klubnik, I was watching the Skycam, which, by the way, should be mandatory for every game. That's just my opinion. Skycam, which oversees exactly what the quarterback's seeing. Klubnik had nowhere to go with the ball this entire game. LSU secondary was locking those guys down, and on top of that, the pass rush getting to Klubnik was unbelievable, so Bro had no time back there. They did not rely on the run like I think they should have, talking about Clemson. I think they should have ran the ball a little bit more. But yeah, overall, LSU's a deadly team. I think they're very, very scary, no pun intended. And I think that, I think they're going to be a big force to be reckoned with this season.
Yeah, Nutsmeyer. Well, that's his dad. Sorry, not him, but his dad. Okay.
Doug Nussmeier.
We like Nussmeier. The reason I picked LSU in this game is because I'm a little bit more sold on Nussmeier than I am Klubnik. Klubnik this is his 4th year. I'm like, dude, everyone was hyping you up in the offseason, saying you're going to be Heisman. Clemson's going undefeated. And I was thinking to myself, if he was capable, I would have seen it by now. And I haven't seen it. It's kind of like Bo Nix. That's exactly who he reminds me of. And maybe he just needs to go to Oregon or something to get his mojo back. But 19 of 39, that's not going to cut it. And you only scored 10 points. So the bottom line is you didn't even score in the second half. How are you a Heisman? You're playing at home in Death Valley. Now it's Life Valley for Brian Kelly because he was on the hot seat had they lost this game. But now he's back. They just gave him the Frankenstein juice, and now he's back to life. You scored 0 points in the second half. This is not top-tier football. And LSU, yeah, they're good. I picked them to win this game, but I only picked them because their quarterback is better. This is not good. Now, Clemson is going to probably win pretty much every game that they play for the rest of the season. They do play FSU. That'll be an interesting game. But at the end of the day, Antonio Williams got hurt in a game, and then their offensive line couldn't block. So, not good, Clemson. LSU, great job.
Yeah, I picked Clemson. You picked LSU, so smart on your end. Clemson was favored by 4 points. Next game we have is going to be Ohio State and Texas at Ohio State. Ohio State favored by 1.5. Ohio State gets the win 14-7. One thing we learned about this game and something that I've been preaching, and I feel like EJ as well, is where's this Arch Manning hype coming from? It makes zero sense. It's because of the last name. It's unbelievable. And finally we saw it. Arch Manning had some, very talent. You could see the sparks of the talent, right? With how he can run. But one thing we figured out is if you can stop Arch Manning's run game and force him to drop back in a rowdy environment, he's not there yet. He missed a lot of wide open guys. Just the ball placement was really, really rough. Threw a really bad interception also. They really relied on the rushing game, which was there, by the way, for Wisner and Baxter. Arch Manning did a lot of these easy passes to get down the field, but once Texas got down the field, they couldn't do anything with it. I feel like they probably they did. Total yards, 336 to 203, which is unbelievable. If you see this entire stat sheet, you're going to think, all right, they had more third down conversions than Ohio State. They have that as well. Okay, you know what? Texas won the game. And no, they didn't because they got down there. They were 1 for 5 on 4th down. One thing I did love about this game is how many times both teams went for it on 4th down early on. I was like, ooh, we're getting crazy. I like it. But nothing ever really came out of it for Texas. They just couldn't get it done. Ohio State, some really good, I think they had a goal line stand, right? And some really good stands inside the red zone. I think both these teams are going to be solid. I think Arch Manning now has 3 weeks to prepare for Florida, so I think he'll be okay. But I still think him coming into the swamp, man, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun one. They definitely look very, very vulnerable. It makes me very excited for this Texas game now. That's my say. I picked Ohio State. You picked Texas.
Yeah, I picked Texas. And, to be honest with you, if this game was replayed 2 more times, I think Texas would probably win the game. Now, here's the deal. Arch Manning. They hyped you up way too much, and you got a reality check. But you did play Ohio State on the road, defending national champs, probably one of the better defenses in the nation. So there's that, right? And then very conservative. You don't want to turn it over, this, that, and the other. Julian Super Saiyan had a decent game. Here's the deal. You lost the game because you had the ball at inside the 5-yard line in a game that your multi-million-dollar coach making $12 million a year doesn't think, well, let's kick the field goal. If you kick the field goal, it's a completely different game, because now you should have kicked it twice. And then it would have been 14. Well, first of all, you missed it both those times. You gave them the ball back, and you completely nullified all your momentum. At least if you would have kicked it, you would have gave your defense a little bit more momentum. You would have put some pressure on Julian Sand to actually have to do something. He had no pressure the whole game. He had no pressure on him the whole game. They gained 200 yards of offense, and you can't beat them because you're going for it on 4th down when you need to be kicking field goals. Had you kicked the field goal when you got the ball back the last time, all you would have needed is to get to the 35-yard line to win the game. But what happened? You kick field goals. Now you need a touchdown. Spoiler alert, you can't even breathe an end zone the whole game. You scored 7 points. Okay. Kick the freaking field goal when you're on the road playing these elite defenses. If you can't punch it in 3 plays, kick the field goal. What were you watching the same game we all were? He wasn't doing anything the whole game, but now you're going to trust him on 4th down to miraculously score a touchdown? No, you got stuffed. And I'm just saying it this way because I picked Texas and we put money on the game, and it was a botched coaching job. So now I got to drop Texas because in high pressure situations, What's-a-majigger is going to be out here going for it on 4th down when he should be kicking. Sarkisian. And you know what I think it is? He coached under Saban for a couple years, and he was traumatized that Saban would always do the right thing and kick the field goal. And so he's thinking, well, I'm going to do it the right way, and I'm going to go for it. Yeah, you look like a complete idiot. So good job, Ohio State. It's a huge win for them. Texas, you play 3 cupcakes in a row. Hopefully that'll just get your hopes way too high when you come to Gainesville. Hopefully we're not beat the hell up by the time we play you, but maybe we will be, and you'll be very healthy because you played 3 cupcakes and a bye week before us. This schedule is ridiculous.
Yeah, absolute joke. I agree, man. I mean, you should go for those field goals, especially when you have a young guy that's obviously rattled in a hostile environment. And every sign's telling you to go for a field goal. So I agree. All right, want to get to this game real quick. Just quick rundown. Ohio. This is not. By the way, we end the week. EJ 6-3, me 7-2, and it's actually going to come down to this last game. TCU North Carolina. TCU was being played tonight in Chapel Hill. TCU favored by 3. I picked North Carolina. EJ picked TCU. So if EJ wins, it will be a tied week 1. So we'd love to see that. That's a lot of fun.
TCU, let's get it.
Yes, sir. So let's
More
go.
frogs, get horny in there.
Hey, why? No. Yeah, it's. I think TCU's they could be a good team. I think they're gonna go in there. Hopefully, something. We'll see what happens. Next one we have Alabama went to Florida State. Alabama loses 17-31. Just wanted to kind of talk about this for a second. We need to get going, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Ty Simpson looked average. Play calling didn't look great for Alabama's offense, and I was actually very excited for Ryan Grimm is his name. Ryan Gribbs, I think, or whatever. Came from Washington with Kalen DeBoer. And, yeah, he didn't – I don't know. I expected more of a spark from this offense. First drive, they went right down the field, scored a touchdown. And after that, man, they scored only one other touchdown, and that was in the 4th quarter. And so it was very interesting. Tommy Castellanos was out there running all over the field. Throwing the ball everywhere, man. This Alabama defense just lacks that Nick Saban mentality and toughness. And I think Kalen DeBoer is going to be on the hot seat because his coaching, this team's not the same team anymore. Alabama looks lost. They don't look like they know where they are. We've seen this multiple times now under his tenure. So just a thing to look out for. I don't think Florida State's really all that. I just think they had a really nice game on an Alabama team that wasn't ready.
Yeah. Here's the deal. I grew up in Tallahassee, was born in Alabama, so this game actually meant something to me watching this for a lot of family and friends. Here's the bottom line. Florida State, I would be silly to say that they're not going to be much better than they were last year. We got to just say that because let me tell you, Missouri basketball 2 years ago, they were 0-19 in the SEC. They were the worst team I've ever seen. Then the very next year, because the transfer portal, you can change out all these coaches, change out all these players, make all these changes. They made the NCAA tournament and they beat us, the national champions. The year after they went 0-19. FSU was 2-10 last year, and now they came out in this game looking like a world-beating national title contender. Now, the bottom line is, DeBoner, what the hell are you thinking? Your team is not mentally prepared. You had 8-9 penalties. Nick Saban would have blown a gasket with 3 penalties. You had more penalties. And guess what? You didn't even turn the ball over, and you only scored 17 points. How did you not have any turnovers? The first thing you look at the stats, you say, well, they must have just fumbled the ball and gave it right back to FSU. No. FSU didn't even benefit from any turnovers. Castellanos and Gus Malzahn, they look like the vintage Auburn team that was running all over the place with Nick Marshall. They ran the ball with volition, with conviction. They powered over the Alabama defense. Alabama looked like they were stuck in mud. It did start raining a little bit, so maybe that had something to do with it. But I'm telling you, this was a terrible game for DeBoner. Great game for FSU because you play in the ACC. You play nobody. You play Miami. I think they play Miami, Clemson, and us, and that's it. They should beat everyone else. And when they play us, Miami, and Clemson, that's the only game that they're going to have a glimmer of losing unless they have another boneheaded fumble Ruski. I like FSU, I have to say. They look really good. Alabama, trash.
There you go. All right. This last game is going to be us kind of going into the USF talk. Boise State, the 25th ranked Boise State Broncos, the team that got the bye week in the playoff last year, except for Ashton Genty. Travels to Tampa to play the University of South Florida and lose 7-34. Now, I was not able to watch this game. I was filming at the time. I think it was like a Thursday night game. I was on set and I was like, I looked at my phone. And I was like, what? What's going on? What the hell? No, I was at a concert. That's what was going on. And I looked at my phone. I was like, yep, that's a problem. And, I was like, all right, boy, the USF at 7-7, whatever, or yeah, something like that. And then it was 10-7, and then it was 17-7, and I was like, wait a second, what's going on right now? Went back and rewatched this game. Boise State hurt themselves so bad in this game, so bad. It's actually insane. They rushed for I don't know how much, but total yards they got 378 to 372 for USF. The turnovers is what killed Boise State in this game. They had 3 turnovers, 3 fumbles that they lost. Madsen, the quarterback, played pretty decent, but they were driving down the field every single time. And then USF, what do? They turn the turnover into points. So big shout out to USF. A lot of them, of course, led by their quarterback Byron Brown, which we'll get into. He looked like Cam Newton back there. Bro was running over corners and safeties like they were nothing, and he's not even a big guy. That's what's crazy. I know, never mind. He kind of is. He's 6'3", 231. So he is kind of a big guy. Never mind. I thought he was a smaller dude. He moves out there like he's super slim. It's scary. It's a scary sight to see. He runs like Jaden Ball as a quarterback, and Boise State could not stop him. And so Boise State kept making mistakes, and USF kept benefiting. And Boise State would also make it into USF territory, and then they would go for it on 4th down, and guess what? They wouldn't get it. They wouldn't get it. So it was constantly them, Boise State, getting down the field and either, fumbling the ball or not converting the 4th down conversion. Their 3rd downs were rough too, obviously, in the game. So yeah, Boise State really hurt themselves in this game. The score is definitely not, super I guess, relevant to actually what happened in the game. The score definitely. I mean, think about it. Boise State doesn't have those 3 turnovers. That's 21 points, right? We're looking at like a 28-17 game, 28-20 game by Boise State. And so I don't know. I think that USF looked really good in this game at Boise State. I think this was more about Boise State hurting themselves than it was them looking bad.
Yeah, USF, the game-changing play was Hewlett's, the punter, throwing the 45-yard touchdown pass to Singleton on the fake punt, which I thought was, Alex Golish he's a risk-taking coach. He's a scared money don't make money type coach. He puts together a decent strategy, and the team goes out there, buys into it, and they execute it. And you get a result like this, where you're getting out there playing a team in Boise that is pound for pound, player for player, equal to you, but you're playing at home. You need to get out there and you need to do your thing. And that's exactly what happened with this game. Now, what we saw in this game was USF. This is their first win against a ranked team in almost 10 years. 34 unanswered points. It was a landslide. They did force the turnovers with stripping the ball out of people's hands, so that's something that we're going to have to watch. But the game changer was the quarterback. Like you said, his ability to throw the ball deep, but then also scramble, is going to put a lot of stress on a lot of defenses this year. It is a really great test for the Florida defense to have to play against this Alex Golish offense and Byron Brown quarterback, because they present a legitimate threat both schematically and from an execution standpoint. So the bottom line is, if you're Florida, how you win this game is you have to play with the lead. You have to play with you saw what happened against Boise. If you're not playing with the lead in this game, the playbook for a Golish and Brown become a lot bigger, and it becomes a lot more challenging to have to play against them. If you're playing with the lead, you limit the playbook to where it's shotgun pass down the field, which you can manage a little bit better than maybe it's a screen, maybe it's a handoff, maybe it's a quarterback run, maybe it's kind of like, well, what the heck do we do? So you have to play with the lead, which means the offense is going to win you this game. And Boise and USF's got the number 1 corner in the nation, 11 tackles, 7 solo, by the way. So there you go. Uh-oh, I can't hear you on my end.
Sorry, my bad. We're back.
Oh, you're back.
My bad. Yeah, no, it's going to be definitely very interesting. I think, like you said, we can't fall behind. Especially because Byron Brown is so dynamic. 2023, obviously last year he got injured, so he's coming off of an injury.
Yep.
But in 2023, his stats were insane: 3,000 plus passing yards and like 800 yards rushing. Bro was an absolute monster back there, and we could obviously see a little bit of that transitioning into this season. So a big part of this game against USF, and we'll get into everything in a second, is going to be about containing this quarterback on every level. And our DBs will get tested because they do like to throw the ball. Alex Golish, like you said, is aggressive down the field at times, and doesn't play around in that sense. So we're going to see a very physical USF team here. We have some stats, EJ, that I'm going to pull up right now. There we go. Beautiful. All right, this is going to be Florida's offense versus this USF defense. EJ, go for it, man.
Yeah, so the US, so when you look at these stats, particularly efficiency stats, you adjust them based on your strength of schedule, right? These are not adjusted. These are just the raw statistics. Over the course of the year, when UF starts playing these tougher teams, there becomes more what they call in research construct validity for all my researchers out there, meaning when you're looking at data, it actually is telling you what's happening. But anyway, USF's is more indicative because of the opponent they played. The reality of this game, the battle is going to be the accuracy of DJ Lagway throwing the ball deep and the availability of all of the receivers. If you've got enough receivers to spread the ball around to cause confusion on USF in terms of who do we really isolate, that's something that you're going to need, because in this game against LIU, you just had Eugene Wilson, who you were throwing screen passes to, and that was the only thing you were doing, and LIU snuffed it out a few times. You're not going to be able to do that successfully against USF. You have to extend the ball down the field, which I think they were sandbagging a little bit, and maybe they will. Extend the ball down the field and then come back with Jaden Ball and power run. If the offense can keep the ball moving and score instead of kicking field goals, and hopefully Smack warms up and he's not out here missing 40-yard field goals, because he's not. People are kicking 55-yard field goals like it's nothing nowadays. He was not in a great headspace. But anyway, if you keep the ball moving, running it, throwing it, you're going to put pressure on the USF offense, which is how you want to win this game. If you're not scoring and USF has the ball either with the lead or within a one-score game, that's how this game becomes very, very interesting. This game, I think, is going to be very similar to when USF played Miami, or not Miami, but maybe Miami, Alabama last year, where it's going to be very difficult to figure out what you're trying to do defensively. And you have to hope that you can hold on until the fourth quarter and hope that you're just deeper than they are. Because if you allow them to stay in the game, it's going to be a problem. So Caleb Banks, he didn't play against LIU. Mizell didn't play against LIU, the wide receiver, who I really like. Dallas Wilson didn't play against LIU. Can these people play against USF? I didn't hear anything. We'll see. That's a big part of this game.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, no, I agree. I think I haven't heard anything about injuries either. We should be getting Caleb Banks back, and we should be getting Dallas Wilson back. Hopefully Grayson Howard is also coming back to get some reps in before he has to go play at LSU, which obviously would be really nice. But yeah, no, hopefully these injuries do, are subsided and we're able to get some of these guys back for this game. Yeah, I mean, the good news is Boise State was able to move the ball on South Florida's defense. It's kind of like what I talked about before, EJ. Other than that insane all-pro DB that USF does have, this passing game of Boise State was able to kind of find some success with Maddox back there throwing the football. Now they did a pretty good job keeping away those super deep passes, but I think that's where DJ Lagway is going to come in and probably change that around a little bit. But they do like to throw the ball. Boise State did, and did find some success doing that. Now they also were able to run the ball a little bit. Boise State was. They did end up though only having 3.2 yards a carry. Now one thing that we're gonna start doing this week. Rob S said, "What about LJ? LJ McCray? Yeah, I don't know about. Have you heard anything about LJ McCray, EJ? I don't know. Rob just asked about that. I haven't heard much from him. I know the injury was getting better, and I think Connor, I think is his name, said, hey, he likes the Thomas shirt. We got a couple people commenting here. Yes, sir. Love it. Have you heard anything, EJ, about LJ McCray?
I do know that he had a lower body. They're not telling us what it is. Lower body injury, and obviously several players didn't play against LIU. You don't need him to play against LIU if there's even a glimmer that you're hurt. I wouldn't bet on him playing in this game, um, just because um, he was week to week, and this is a game where you, like I said, you win with your offense, and you're gonna need as many defensive players as you can get in the SEC. And the bottom line is, if you don't have enough healthy players to come out here against USF and tackle somebody and stop somebody, even though these people need reps, you got bigger fish to fry than anything. So I don't think he's going to play personally, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's been week to week now since like August 11th. And so he's been at week to week for a while. So it wouldn't surprise me if he did come back. Good news is, like we were talking about, Jaden Woods looks really solid on that edge position. Of course, we got Gums as well. And so it's not going to be a super serious issue, but I think, of course, having him would be massive for us, especially since we can rotate and add more to that depth, which, is kind of a little bit of a concern there. Connor asked, when will Dallas Wilson debut? I would expect to see Dallas Wilson this week. I personally think he's going to come.
I'm pretty confident that Dallas Wilson will be playing in this game against USF.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I think and we already saw this wide receiver core, shine a little bit this past week. So Dallas Wilson, also too, Billy Napier did do a press conference today. It's Monday, so he did do a press conference. So if you guys want to go watch that, of course, after you watch this, he might have gave some injury updates there. But he did it while we were doing this video, I believe, and so we weren't able to watch that before we did it. But he might give some kind of update there, because now I know in college football they have the thing where you have to give the injury update before
by Wednesday.
Game.
But it's technically only for SEC games. So
okay.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to give the update in this game because it's a non-SEC game. But from what I heard with Wilson, he was in a boot, he was recovered, and he probably could have played in this game, but precautionary, you're playing LIU, you should be running wide open without him. I'm thinking he'll be back in this game. You're going to need he was your top receiver in the spring game. He was catching everything. You're going to need him in this game. I think he'll be playing. I'm not sure about Mizell. Banks will be back. I don't think McCray will be back. So 2 of the 4 will be back. Let's see what happens.
There you go. So do you think Trammell will start? No. You're going to see DJ playing the whole game. I think you will see a lot of Trammell maybe in the fourth quarter, depending on what the game is like. I don't think we're going to be a position in this game, though, where you'll see Trammell Jones, especially with his red shirt, how they want to play with that. You know what I mean? I think they're going to be probably a little more conservative in that aspect. I think DJ is going to play from the first snap to the last snap, considering I don't think we're going to get too big of a point gap here. But anyway, offensively, so we're going to do a new thing this week. This is what I was going to get into. Or new thing this week, new thing this season, where we give like a offensive key and a defensive key to the game. My offensive key, I think, is there's 2 of them that jumped out at me. One is DJ hits 2 20-plus yard passes. These are going to be bombs down the field, and I expect those to kind of be big game-changing moments. Or also over 4.8 yards a carry from our running back in the backfield, our running backs that we have in the backfield. I think both those are really solid offensive keys. I'm going to go with 4.8 yards a carry, though, on average for our running backs in the game. I think that's a solid number. If we get close to 5 yards a carry, I think that's going to let us win this game, because when you look and see how USF was able to do these quick passes against, or Boise State was able to do these quick passes against USF this past week, I feel like DJ Lagway and this Billy Napier offense, which is more conservative in that aspect, isn't going to have any problems there. Mixed with DJ taking more deep shots, I think that we're going to be fine in that aspect. So I think if we can really get a good run game going here with these guys, which I'm sure that we will, I think that's going to be the key offensively for me.
I think that's exactly right, because like I said, we're going to win this game, guys, with offense. And what do I mean by that? If you score with your offense, you immediately put pressure on the other team's offense to have to match you. And that changes their game plan. When you can't score, their playbook is wide open when they get the ball back. And so you have to limit Alex Golish's playbook, which is very similar. What he used to coach at Tennessee. He had the offensive at Tennessee. It's the same attack. It's the same thing that you're going to play when you play Tennessee. It's actually not that complex of a playbook. It's just executed extremely well. There's a variation of 6 to 8 plays where the receivers are basically on the sideline, stretching the defense completely out and forcing the defense to be able to tackle in space. And when you have Brown, who can break tackles, juke around, you're breaking people's ankles, it is going to be very difficult to play against that style if our offense is not scoring, because you won't have to deal with that. You're going to force them to have to throw the ball, and you're going to force them to have to, have Brown to figure it out, which is going to put a lot of pressure on him. The stat that I'll give you for me is +2 turnovers. USF had 0 turnovers in their first game. They were +3. We had 0 turnovers in our first game. So when you look at this, turnovers is how USF stays in this game and creates an opportunity to have a short field. And I think they're going to have issues driving it 75 yards every single time. But if DJ throws it over the middle, it gets deflected and it's intercepted and they're running it back, now it becomes, okay, now we have to worry a little bit. So I think the reality is we have to win the turnover battle. How do you win the turnover battle? You put pressure on their offense to have to do things that they're not comfortable with, and that creates opportunities, high-risk situations for us to get the ball in easy downs and run it down their throats with Baugh. And then that's the other thing. Sorry, I'll just give you this one other thing. Give it to Baugh. He is a great matchup against USF's defense, the defensive line for them. I think he'll have a great time. Give it to him and power run. This whole, let's alternate quarterbacks or running backs like musical chairs. Maybe that works in some of these other games, but in this game, I think you establish that power run. You force USF to have to come down to say, okay, this guy's running all over us. We need to devote more people to the line of scrimmage because the D-line is getting mauled. And then what happens? Exactly what you just said, Logan. Deep bomb right over the top. That's how you win this game. If you come out here, let's screen pass every play. Let's throw to the sideline to Wilson. It's going to be an immediate tackle, and then it's 3rd and 11, and then it's a forced high-risk play that might get intercepted. Power run, deep bomb, 15 passes max in this game, and we should be able to win it. But we never know with Napier. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you can say that again. So here we go. We can talk about this Florida defense versus the USF offense. It's funny, EJ, you were talking about how the turnover battle is so important. That's my defensive key, is get 2 turnovers. I don't think the Gators are going to commit more than 1. I mean, knock on wood, you never know. Obviously, this is the game of football. You never know what's going to happen. Alabama just lost to FSU. But I do think that if we get 2 turnovers on the defensive side of the ball against this USF offense, I think the Gators are pretty solid there. I think you also disrupt Byron Brown, like you said, and this Alex Golish offense and this momentum that it likes to run on, right? Which is what a lot of this offense is built off of with Golish. I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, guys. Connor just put Lil Bacon said, I'm worried about their QB. We struggle with running QBs under Napier. You're not lying. Connor said the Yak was not going for Wilson last game. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, when you're doing screen after screen, though, I mean, these teams are gonna kind of catch on pretty quickly. But yeah, I do think those turnovers are going to be key because this is what I was going to say, EJ. If you look at Byron Brown's past in that year in 2023 where he did play the entire season, he did throw 11 interceptions to 26 touchdowns. So he is susceptible to turning the ball over. Now the secondary, like we were talking about though, the only issue is we don't know anything about these guys, right? I mean, yeah, you have Cormani McLean, you have Devin Moore, you got these guys that are back there. And by the way, we should have our freshman corner coming back as well. I can't remember his name, but he's kind of a guy that's there for depth, so he should be coming back from an injury because he was out against LIU. So I think if this secondary is at least good, above average, I think they can at least get an interception on Byron Brown because I think he's going to be maybe a late game situation where they're down by 2 scores in the fourth quarter, right, or in the third quarter, whatever it is, and he's getting a little bit more aggressive because he feels that pressure. The Swamp's really loud. It's another sold-out game, just sold out yesterday. I can see him forcing a ball in a position where it doesn't need to be. And I think I could see us getting a turnover there. So yeah, that's my big defensive key. But really, like Connor was saying, or no, sorry, like little Bacon Bit was saying, I love that name. You have to control Byron Brown. Tackle. The good news is the linebackers had a really, really good game against LIU. I know it was LIU, EJ, but like what I was talking about earlier, I was really, really happy with how they came down the field. If they can go in there, wrap up Byron Brown, not let him maul through like he's prime Cam Newton in 2010 or whatever, I think that you're going to see a good performance by this Gator defense, and I think it's going to lead to a win for the Gators.
100%. Tackling, discipline, that's what wins games against Alex Golish and Josh Heupel. You have to tackle their players in open space. If you allow them to shimmy shake you and get 5 or 6 yards, that's how you're going to be caught between your tail between your legs. Now, I actually really like our secondary starters. I think they're good enough to hold serve. Moore, Denson, Johnson are really good. Bryce Thornton, I thought he had a great game. Castell, physical, big, strong, fast. He had a great game. The thing that they're going to be needing to do is tackle Brown, and also don't get targeting. Now, when Brown gets down the field and he's a runner, targeting is a little bit less, but he's going to shimmy shake you and go to that sideline, and he's going to be dancing around on the sideline, and then don't hit him. Don't hit him because you're going to hit him when he's out of bounds. They're going to get 15 yards. Let him go out of bounds. Then hit him when he's inbounds. Now, on the defensive side, their offensive line is not as highly rated from a direct handoff standpoint as what typically an Alex Golish or Josh Heupel team would like. Running up the middle is typically a game-changing death blow when you're playing this type of offense. Because if they can run it up the middle with the running back and actually have success, you're in trouble. So the defensive line is going to have to get underneath those blocks and make contact with the running back in the backfield with the front 4. If you can't do that and they start running the ball up the middle, we're gonna have problems all game. Mm-hmm. So their offensive line, and that's why Brown was running around against Boise State, because Boise State did a decent job at stopping the point of attack runs up the middle, which forces the defense to condense, and then you're spread to the sidelines with your receivers. Nimrod, the Tennessee wide receiver that they had, he was catching everything. They're going to be on the sidelines, and if they can hit you up the middle, then you're going to have to say, well, let's go to the middle, and then they're going to hit you on the sideline, and then you're like, well, let's go out there. Then they're going to do that the whole game, and then, Brian Brown's going to start running. It starts with stopping that run up the middle with your front 4, putting pressure on Brown to make those decisions, run or throw, and not giving him enough time to have guys like Nimrod. And there's another guy, I think Singleton. Singleton and Nimrod, if you give them time to run down there and get open, because you can't stop the run up the middle, now you're going to have problems. So stop that run up the middle, and I think you have a good chance to slow them down. And also how you stop them up the middle is if you score with your offense, they're not going to be running it up the middle. They're going to be trying to throw it, which is a lot easier than, okay, we got to figure out a game plan. So score with DJ, run the ball, go deep, and actually catch it when you go deep. One-handed with like VB3, and you should be able to be in a good position late in the game. You want to get into this game into the fourth quarter where USF, they don't have as much depth as you, where they're a little bit tired and they're huffing and puffing. And then you're able to, now you can bring in Jacoby Jackson. And then they're bringing in Jacoby Jackson now? Now we got to tackle this guy? That's how you win this game.
Yeah, I like that. What's did you give an exact defensive key?
Stop the run up the middle.
Stop the run up the middle. Gotcha. All right, yeah. Beautiful. Well, there you go. I was gonna read some of these comments, EJ. We got a lot of viewers today, man. We'd love to see it. Connor said we didn't open up the playbook last game. I don't think so. Yeah, no, we definitely did not. I like Flowers. You talking about Javari Flowers? I think he's like a freshman, right? A freshman DB, I believe.
Okay.
Okay. Keep up the no penalties. Yep. And we think and keep up the no penalties, and we should be solid too. Discipline is what makes the team's title contenders. Contain and play clean, and we'll win based off of talent alone. I agree, Lil. Yep, that's exactly what we were talking about. 0 penalties against LIU. Really good silence. Keep it going. We have another guy. Neo says the O-line sure needs to step up, especially the pass. Brother, we were talking about that earlier. Trust me, I was not happy with what I saw, so I think that's going to be a big sign as well.
We got some smart viewers out here.
Yeah,
they're telling it like it is.
Hell yeah, we appreciate you guys, man. Subscribe while you're here. We do this every single week, baby. EJ, I know we got to get going soon. Do you want to give anything else you want to say? Do you want to give a score prediction here?
So I think this game is going to be relatively close early, and then I think we're going to figure out a way to – it's going to become apparent that we're just a little bit more physical, we're a little bit more faster, we're a little bit this, that, and the other. I'm going to go 34-17 UF in the game. I think I don't think we're going to cover. They're saying we're supposed to win by 18. But I'm going to go 34-17. I actually think it'll be closer, but fourth quarter we'll, score 10 points and then it'll be over.
There you go. I have 31-17 because I think Trace Mack's going to miss a field goal. No. No, that's what Connor just said. He's like, Trace Mack needs to lock in, bro. I agree. I have 31-17, though, so I think we're on the same wavelength here, EJ. I think the Gators are going to definitely score pretty well, I think, consistently throughout the game, but I think USF's going to scare us a little bit early. I think it's going to take some time to contain Byron Brown, because I think he's going to be a loose cannon there at the beginning of this game, and Gator fans are going to go, oh, shit, not this again. So we'll see what happens, but I do think the Gators are going to win 31-17. It's going to be a fun game. I don't think that, like you said, we win by 18 or whatever the spread is. I think that's kind of ridiculous, 20, whatever they're going for. But I do think a 31-17 is going to be a good score for the Gators. I think we do get a win, not the prettiest thing in the world, but hopefully this leads into the absolute gauntlet that we have, and our boys can lock in, because I know we're going to be trying to keep, some play calls for those games for sure. Yeah. So there you go, 34-17, 31-17. That's our prediction. Neo says 28-14. Hey, I like that too, baby.
Oh,
I
wow.
like that.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Right. EJ, do you have time to go through these week 2 previews real quick, or?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. So here we go, guys. We're gonna run through these real quick. We have our first game, Illinois favored by 2.5 at Duke. EJ, how do you feel?
Illinois at Duke. Okay, you go first.
I have Illinois winning this game, but I do think Duke can definitely win. The reason I'm picking Illinois is I think Illinois is more talented. I think they have more guys coming back, obviously from last year after a really good season by them. I think Duke's going to win this game, but I'm picking Illinois just solely based off of the fact that I think they just have a more experienced team.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Illinois as well. I think Illinois is solid. Duke, they don't have Malik Murphy. Right. Do they have Malik Murphy?
No, no,
He-
but they
he
did
went
get the
to-
transfer from Tulane who played really good last week, bro.
Okay, so they got so they got, and he didn't, wait, did he play against us? No, he left and then didn't play in the bowl game.
Yep.
And that's why he didn't play. Okay, so, all right, give me Illinois. I'm going to go Illinois by a touchdown.
Yeah, I could see that going Duke's way, though. Baylor at SMU. SMU favored by 2.5.
Ooh. This is one of those things where I picked Baylor last week to beat Auburn. And then let's say I pick them again and they're going to definitely lose. But is it at Baylor?
No, it's at SMU. SMU look like shit, though, dude. I don't know if you saw them Saturday. They look like trash. They look very sloppy, in my opinion, against East Texas A&M.
All right, I like Baylor. Okay, I like Baylor. Give me the Bears.
I'm taking the Bears too. I think Baylor is a really good team. I think they're going to bounce back. SMU looked way too sloppy against East Texas A&M. I didn't even know that was a place. Even though we can't really be talking after playing LIU. Connor says that he thinks the Gators are going to win 37-21, and Rob S says 31-13. I agree. So we're all kind of in the same. We're not far off from each other. And we got 14 people watching right now, baby. Love to see it. Hell yeah. Welcome.
There we go. Go Gators.
Yes, sir. Next one we have is Iowa at Iowa State, rivalry game here. Iowa State favored by 3.5.
Give me Iowa State. Wait, is it at Iowa State?
It's at Iowa State.
Give me Matt Campbell, Iowa State. They impressed me in the opening game in Dublin, Ireland. Maybe they were drinking a lot of Irish whiskey. You know, you drink Irish whiskey when you go to Ireland. I don't know if y'all knew that or not, but Iowa State, they've got just a little bit more oomph. Now Iowa plays with defense, and it's at home for Iowa State. Give me Iowa State by a field goal. It's going to be low scoring, 18-15. Iowa State.
I agree. It can be a very, very close game. EJ, we're doing the same picks so far. We love to see it. I'm picking Iowa State as well. Iowa just cannot ever get a pass game. It's so funny to see. This year alone, they don't have a pass game at all. And I do think that Iowa State's going to get the win. They have more games, obviously, this season so far. Had a really good win starting out with Kansas State. I think it's going to transition in this game. Next game, we have Kansas at Missouri. Missouri favored by 6.5.
Ooh. It's Kansas is one of those teams you have no clue what you're going to get. Jekyll and Hyde. Missouri is a little bit more consistent. Who's the Missouri quarterback now?
It's the guy from Penn State. Remember Bo, whatever, the guy that sat out of the playoff last year because he was transferred to Missouri.
Okay, all right. I like Mizzou. I don't like them to cover in this game. I actually think this is going to be a much closer game than people think, because I think Kansas is going to hit them with a little craziness. And plus, Kansas and Missouri, this is a rivalry game. This is right across the border. Give me Missouri 27-24.
I like it. I'm gonna pick Kansas in this game. I think they're gonna get the upset here. I know this is probably not the smartest pick in the world, but they look really good, dude. I feel like Jaden Daniels is back there doing his thing. He looks really, really good this year, man. Obviously healthy. We love to see it. They looked really good in the first few games. I think because they have 2 games under their belt and Missouri only has 1, I think that's going to go to their benefit. I think they understand their system and understand their philosophy a little bit more. But this game, I agree, EJ, it's going to come down to one score, whether that's a touchdown or a field goal. So I'm taking Kansas there. Our first disagreement. It's tough to see. Next game we have Arizona State favored by 6.5 at Mississippi State.
Ooh. So Mississippi State, they weren't terrible in their opening game because remember they lost to Toledo and then it fell off a cliff. Arizona State, they don't have Scattaboo this year, but you're still pretty good. It's at Mississippi State. The Cowboys can get a little bit tougher. I do think Arizona State is a little bit more talented, and I think the up-tempo style by both teams is going to go in Arizona State's favor. And I got the Sun Devils. Give me the Sun Devils to cover. 31-24. High scoring Arizona State wins.
I like it as well. I think this is going to be a 2-score game for Arizona State, so I'm in agreement there. Mississippi State's just not ready for this. They're going to have another rough year, man. I think they're 1 year away, though, from taking a step forward. Virginia at North Carolina State. North Carolina State favored by 2.5.
Ooh. Virginia, their defense is a little bit better than what I, thought it was going to be, because last year it was absolute, like, you were FCS level defense. You're on the road. NC State is really good. I'm going to go Virginia in the upset in this game. Mild upset, 1 point. 1 point win.
Let's go.
27-26.
Let's go, EJ. Come on, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like it. I'm taking Virginia in this game as well. I think they looked really good in that first game against Coastal Carolina, right? They looked very dumb. Or no, they played UMass. I think that's who they played. I don't know. Either way, they looked really good in that first game. Quarterback looks really solid. North Carolina State, I don't know what happened to their team. They're like my favorite ACC team if I had to pick one. It's North Carolina State because of how physical they usually are. Their defense looks like absolute trash this year. They don't look the same anymore. EJ, I know you agree there, man, because even last year they took a dip. I have Virginia for that reason, man. NC State's taking a big dump. Even though it's at NC State, the Wolfpack's going to be there, man. They're probably going to do a red out or something. I really like this Virginia team. I have them as like a dark horse for that ACC. Next game we have Vanderbilt at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech coming off of a pretty bad loss against South Carolina.
Ooh, let me tell you something. So Vandy's going to throw out their Pavia. And so Virginia Tech's thinking, what the hell? We got to play all these quarterbacks the first 2 games. Now, here's the deal. Virginia Tech did impress me defensively against Sellers. But Virginia Tech also did not even score a touchdown. So, this is a tough one. Now I know why this is a pick 'em game. I'm going to go. Logan, why are you giving this to me? All right. Give me Vandy to go on the road to pull off the upset. Diego Pavia putting it on them.
I like that pick, baby. Yes, sir. Lee Corso. We're going to go, I'm taking Vanderbilt as well, man. There's not a spread on this game. I can't find it to save my life after this past weekend. But I do pick Vandy as well, and I pick them here. I really like this Vandy team. Like you said, as long as Drones is the quarterback for Virginia Tech, I'm not going to pick them. Next game we have is UCLA favored by 2.5 at Dan Mullen's UNLV Rebels.
Ooh, this is the easiest one you've given me.
Ooh, really?
UNLV, baby. Let me tell you something. Imaliava, this is the best businessman I've ever seen. You were at Tennessee. You said, give me $2 million. They said, absolutely not. You're not worth it. They were right. He was wrong. But he goes to UCLA and says, hey, UCLA, give me $1 million. Okay. And then what happens? You come out against Cal and wait, who did they play? They played somebody. He looked horrendous. Dan Mullen, upset over UCLA.
You know what's crazy is I had that game underlined. I had UNLV underlined, but God, their secondary is so bad to the point where I think even a blind guy like Nico Maliava can still hit a couple deep shots on this team. I think this is going to be upset of the week, but my heart, for some reason, I'm leaning toward UCLA. I don't like it because Nico looked like absolute trash this past week. Now, he did lose against Utah, by the way, who I think is the Big 12 champs, and man, did they look like it, EJ. I'm just saying, man, I might have made a right pick there for once in my life. I love it. And yeah, they played Utah. Exactly, Connor. And I think Utah is going to be the Big 12 champs if you guys go back and watch our
Oh, they played, yeah. Utah absolutely embarrassed them.
Yeah, they're good, man. They're a good group, but I think UCLA is going to bounce back here and get a win over UNLV. I just don't trust UNLV's defense. I'm so sorry to my friend Lee that works for UNLV. Next one we have is Michigan. This is the game of the week. Michigan at Oklahoma. Oklahoma favored by 5.5.
Ooh. Well, here's the thing, guys. I've watched both these teams in the opening game. Michigan, you gave your quarterback, true freshman, $2 million because you have all these billionaires that gave him all this money. Here's the thing. When you start giving all these freshmen millions of dollars, what the hell incentive do they have to do anything? If I was a true freshman and you gave me $2 million to just be on the team, not actually perform, I'd be like, Okay, I guess. What do I need to play well for? They didn't play well against New Mexico. New Mexico was in the game the whole time. Michigan made a lot of mistakes. Now, Oklahoma also played an overmatched team as well. And they were letting them hang around a little bit. This is the biggest game from a ranking standpoint of the weekend. Give me that Sooner head.
Yeah.
Oklahoma Sooners upset Michigan.
I like it. I like it. I don't know if I'll say that, but I do like it. I do have Oklahoma also winning this game. The reason I have Oklahoma winning this game is because Bryce Underwood going into a hostile environment as a true freshman just does not sound good. I don't like that. That's the reason I'm picking Oklahoma. Both of these teams did have a kind of a weird week one, like you were talking about, especially Michigan there. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think that for a first game for Bryce Underwood, it's going to be weird. I do think that this Michigan defense, I like them. I like them a lot. I think it's going to be
good. They're good.
It's going to be a low-scoring game.
Mateer, Oklahoma. They paid you a lot of money too, buddy. Step it up.
They're not ready. I don't think they're ready. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I have Oklahoma winning 17-10. It's gonna feel a lot like this Ohio State and Texas game where it's kind of back and forth. But I think it's gonna come down to Bryce Underwood versus John Mateer. I take John Mateer over Bryce Underwood, especially Bryce Underwood being a true freshman like that. But yeah, I got Oklahoma as well. So there we go. We're in alignment with I think every pick but two, and so this could be a really fun week. But there we go. That's gonna be it for us, man. We'll see what happens. Dude, before we go, EJ. Everyone that came here to watch, we got a lot of people viewing, a lot of people commenting. We really do appreciate you guys. Give this video a like, subscribe, hit that little bell notification. We're here every single week, man. And next Sunday we won't be, hopefully not in a rush either. It's usually one of us that always has stuff going on. But we definitely want to chat with you guys longer. We just got to get out of here. But everyone watching, we really do appreciate you guys so much. I'll answer these last few questions before we go, real quick, EJ. Rob said 31-13 Gators. What do you think the Florida and Florida State record would be? We actually gave our record predictions for Florida preseason. Go check out that video. Florida State, I don't know. What do you think, EJ? Probably 8-4, around there.
Wait, what was the question?
Florida State's record. What do you think they'll be? Just kind of guessing.
Ooh, 9-3.
I like.
They're gonna beat everybody except Miami, Florida, and Clemson. There you go.
I like it. Next one we have Little Bacon Bit said, I think we dropped 38 on USF, 38-21. I do think they throw for a ton of yards on us, on our inexperienced DBs. I agree there. I don't mind that. Rob said go with the over in the Kansas and Mizzou game. Hell yeah. Connor said Connor has UF going 12-0. I love the optimism, baby. I love it.
Wait, you had them 8-4.
Yeah. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. No, go check out our season preview. I can explain myself. Next one, Neo said Florida could play up to 9 ranked teams if USF gets ranked. Yeah.
I actually think the poll should be coming out, shouldn't it? Or maybe they're waiting.
No, because you have North Carolina. Yeah, you got North Carolina and TCU. But yeah, actually check that real quick, EJ, if you can. Rob said, who's better, Pavia or Castellanos, the quarterback for FSU? I'm definitely going to take I don't know, actually. Castellanos ran for 1K, over 1,000 yards a couple of years ago at Boston College. I'm probably going to take Castellanos.
Ooh, this is a good question.
That's a really good question.
See, our viewers, we have the best viewers. They're beautiful. I love our viewers. They ask great questions. Let me tell you something. Pavia, I would say Pavia. But the thing is, Castellanos has way more players around him, so he's going to look better. So Vandy, they're slow. They're stuck in mud. They gave all the money to Pavia. They can't block for him. He's going to struggle. Castellanos, they're bringing in all these people from the SEC. He's going to look better. They're playing worse teams. They only played 3 good teams all year. Well, they played 4. They played Alabama, and they won, and he looked great. Castellanos.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Does Utah still have Cam Rising? No, they do not. Little Bacon Bit said, we'll catch you guys later. Go Gators. Go Gators. We're about to get out of here, too. And last question, Connor said, Carson Beck, most overrated QB in college football. I agree. I know EJ doesn't, but I agree, baby. Hey, we love you guys, man. Thank you so much for joining, man. We'll be here next Sunday, not Monday. We'll be here next Sunday to review the USF game and get ready for LSU prep week. God, I can't wait, man. I hate the Tigers.
LSU.
Oh, LSU. We love y'all guys. Go check out our Instagram, man. We'll be active on there, and will be some videos also coming out.
Sir Thomas.
Yes, sir. Love you guys, man. See you next time. Go Gators.
Peace.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's